So thank you both very much for doing this interview with the Discerning Eye. I really appreciate it. And if you could just introduce yourselves.
I'm Danielle Charette.
Okay.
I'm Richard Reilly.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing us art.
Yes, thank you for bringing us art from all over the place. But speaking of that, speaking of all over the place, let's talk about your backgrounds, first of all. Where did you come from?
I'm from New York, and a musician with also a background working for an art gallery for a long time. And I'm here because Danielle's here.
Yeah, and I'm born here in Pennsylvania, locally. Resided in New York most of my life, and moved back here with my little girl.
Okay.
And I'm a painter, Contemporary Expressionist painter.
Okay. Now, what was the impetus in making the Metropolis Collective? Like, why'd you start to do that?
Well, we had talked about maybe going back to New York, but it wasn't really likely to happen. So we decided that we could try and bring some of what we liked about New York here.
Yes.
And then we saw this big old beautiful building, and it just was meant to be.
So, why here? Why Mechanicsburg?
It's a cool little town.
Do you have any roots here to start?
I had family here when I was a child in Mechanicsburg, so yeah, it was just, I like the town. I like the architecture and the quaintness of it. And it seems like a neighborhood that was starting to change. And the opportunity was here, and there was just a void in the contemporary art market here in central Pennsylvania, and we just decided to go with it.
Yes, I like that answer.
We did think about Harrisburg a little bit, but it just feels better down here.
It seems like there's a burgeoning scene, at least in the smallest part. Coming from Lancaster, there is also a burgeoning scene there, but it's doesn't quite have this contemporary feel. So that's another reason why I wanted to shine a light on you guys as well. So let's talk about being in this area. For those who may not know, what other kind of arts are going on here? Are you starting it off?
There's, in town, 2 other galleries, soon to be 3.
2 other galleries, there's a couple of photographers as well. There's the Brath and Hughes, there's a second floor gallery. Harrisburg has quite a few art offerings going on the other side of the river. Harrisburg Midtown Art Center, there's a gallery at Second, there's a new place called the Make Space, and that is a wonderful, wonderful place for the art community as well.
Good. Okay, so let's get back to your gallery here. How long have you been here in business?
Since June.
Okay, June of 2013 or 2012?
Yeah.
Okay. And how have you been welcomed by the community?
It's been slow, but steady. The community's not hostile. I think, they maybe don't get what we do so much, but they're catching on a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's a portion of the townies who don't really, understand what we're doing. But I think in the central Pennsylvania community in general, we've been welcomed with open arms. I think that this is something that people were craving, and I think they're slow to even come out and see us because perhaps they fear, another art gallery. I'm going to go see more of the same old. But they've been very, very welcoming.
There's also a lot of big military presence here, so we get a lot of transient traffic.
That's interesting.
We actually had to ship a lot to Indonesia.
Really? What was that for?
military guy came in and was like, oh, I need to have that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's nice that the artists that you bring in are able to maybe even send their art all over the place because of the character of the city and who comes in here.
And they all love to come here. You know, it's not anything like for them to drive down from New York, like, you know, 3.5-hour drive. And without fail, when they're here, they say, ooh, I want to buy a house here.
Yes, that's great. So let's talk about your artists a little bit. How do you normally select the artists that you choose to hang?
Well, typically from the start, we've started out with a lot of friends and family from our backgrounds in New York, friends in New York, also friends of mine through hanging my own artwork, contemporaries and peers. And it just kind of goes from there. You know, our friends have other friends and their friends have friends, and we're just trying to have a friendly sort of atmosphere here, and trying to welcome the place up to all different artists. And generally, some shows just start with a theme, and you know, we just take it from there as far as finding art that will fit a particular theme very well.
And we also have had some local artists come in who just knew that they belonged here. You know, it's the story being that they really didn't feel like there was a place for them to bring their art. And,
Until we came.
I would say that that would be how I came about being able to bring artwork here, because having somewhat of a stake in the local arts in Lancaster, knowing emerging artists, as soon as I came in here, I said, I know at least 4 people that like this would be their second home. So it's very exciting that you're here. I'm glad that you're providing it.
We really enjoy being able to give opportunities to underrepresented artists in the local community, because there's so many fabulous artists that just haven't had the venue to show their art in.
we really fall in love with the art we hang. It's fun. And some of the artists. Most of them.
Okay, so what are your hopes then for this show coming up for Homegrown?
Just that a lot of people get to see it. It's always our goal, you know, for as many people to see what's on the walls as possible. Sort of, we're still trying to get the word out, you know. We've only been here a little over 6 months.
Yeah, we've shown, you know, a lot of art from very established artists in the art world, from Paris and London and New York City, and that's all fine and dandy, but I think without a local draw and a local connection, you know, it's just kind of a one level of things, and this show is a great opportunity for us to bring Pennsylvania art to light and show people, you know, what we're doing here and give the opportunities as well. So.
Yes.
And let people know there's more going on here than what you would ordinarily think of as central Pennsylvania art.
Yes. Yeah, it seems like, at least from what I've experienced a couple times I've been here, it's definitely, for me, it's the artists coming out of the woodworks, you know, the artists that, like you said, were underserved, underrepresented, and are able to really shine on serious walls with serious lighting, you know, and really be given a chance to be taken seriously and, you know, succeed from there.
I think we're the first people I've ever seen like hang any outsider art, not salon style.
Yeah.
Like where it's the way you would hang any other
Yes.
quote more legitimate form of art or more scholarly.
I noticed that as well, and I think that's very important. We have some venues in Lancaster that, you know, are for maybe some more underrepresented groups, but again, in my opinion, they would never be taken seriously. So I'm glad that you provide that. Let's see. Next question. So what kind of art moves you both? What do you like to see on the walls and in your homes, possibly?
I've loved pretty much everything we've hung since we opened. I'm a fan of like Negro, is like one of my favorite artists.
We kind of have a policy, if it's not something like that we would want to hang in our home, then we really don't want to hang it here. For me, I like all different sorts of art, but I really like expressionistic art, something, I like conceptual art as well. I love outsider art. But it has to, make me think or feel something, and that's very important to me, I'm not looking for a duplication of something, and to me it has to be a unique creation,
Yes, great. Let's see. So, getting back a little bit, back to the gallery. What is it seems very laid back in here. You guys, again, you're like, if I don't want to have it in my home, I'm not going to put it on the walls. But what's your approach to running your gallery? We sort of touched on it a little bit, properly hanging, outsider art and things like that. But if you could generalize your approach to running the space.
Danielle does most of the curation and hanging, and I do most of the movement.
I'm going to pause real quick, just so that's okay. Back on. So, any advice that you would give to emerging artists in the area?
Believe in what you do, and somebody will like it. Somebody will like it.
Yeah, I just say keep moving forward and keep creating from your heart, and you put yourself into anything enough, you're going to succeed at it.
And don't compete with the galleries that want to work with you.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, when you've got, I think this is a good thing to get out there. When you're hanging somebody and they're showing on Facebook or Etsy or ArtSlam, and underpricing you, and our pricing is all based on what the artist wants. It makes it difficult to justify hanging the art because they're competing against themselves.
And maybe in that, if you could talk about not only as gallerists, do you put art on the walls, but you also have other jobs as well, if you could talk about that.
Yeah, I do. For every show, I treat every artist in here as if they are top of the art world. Whether it's a group show, I make sure a flyer gets out there, a postcard gets out there with everybody's name on it that's in that show. I do press releases and put those out to every press outlet within the art world, including local publications as well, regional publications. I also try to do things to help further their careers, to give them web presence, put them on various different sites, art sites and everything, where we're not just taking their art, hanging it on the wall and saying, let's sell art, make money, there's so much more we're putting into, let alone paying for the space and everything else that goes into it with insurance and security and whatnot. We're really investing in each and every person we bring in here, and it's a big job. It's a big job to do this every month after month, for this many people.
And we do get that back.
Yeah.
People realize that they're part of something bigger than just an art gallery. That we're attempting to do something here that is different, and we have a huge amount of respect for the artists. We don't view them as commodities. We treat them like family.
Yeah, we're building a family here. like-minded artists.
Yes.
What a friendly.
Everyone, you know, to give the other artists a hand up also. We don't like, you know, competitiveness. We want everybody to want to do really well, but we don't want any resentment over this one gets this or this one gets that.
Right.
We really try to be level-handed with every artist we deal with, no matter who they are or what their history is. And we expect our artists to sort of adhere to that also, because they can open the doors for other artists who in turn, they open the doors for them.
Yeah. It's a cycle as long as it stays open and I don't want to say congenial, but helpful for everybody. It's a cycle, you know.
It should be symbiotic.
Exactly. Yes.
I've heard from many of our artists now over the last month, because I believe it's just snowballing a bit, that they've all been receiving offers for shows. Suddenly, they said out of nowhere, everywhere. And again, like you said, I just think you put the work into the promotion and working for these artists and developing their careers, and great things will happen. So just keep doing it.
Sometimes all it takes is somebody saying, you know, this artist's work is really good for it to become accepted as this artist's work is really good. And you know, for a long time, there's been a handful of people who are determining what good art is.
Yeah, it's time to spread that out maybe a little bit. Okay, lastly, so considering you said, you know, your gallery is like a family spot, your artists are like your family, when you invite your family to town, what should they do? What's good in Mechanicsburg? What do you guys like to do?
We're here 90% of the time.
In here.
We're here.
And usually when it comes time when we have people from out of town in, it's usually for openings first Fridays. And by the time we're done, about the only place to go is across the street. And they'll open up a room for us to have something to eat.
Okay, and what is that place
That's
called?
the G-Man.
Okay.
Everything closes pretty early.
Really? Well, it seems like the scene here is so hyped that the party doesn't really need to go anywhere else.
Well, also people like just the area. They like driving down the street. We had a New York artist in who was happy just walking around over to the railroad tracks. And it's different for people, you know. It's you get them out of the city, and it's like it feels arty here. You know, it feels like an art community could happen here.
Awesome. All right, let's end on that. That was great.